This training video comes to you from the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Ministry of Education in collaboration with USAID Read2 project.
Hello everyone, my name is Brukar Labacha. Today I am going to talk to you about teaching English as a foreign language in upper grades. Here are the objectives designed for our today's training. The objectives designed for our today's training session. At the end of this training, you will be able to describe how teachers' own experience of learning English and their attitudes, beliefs about learning affect a student's learning experience. Second, you will also be able to demonstrate a clear understanding of the contents and the structures of the newly revised English material. You are also expected to explain how helpful our mother tongue is to help students learn English. Finally, you will also be able to identify common strategies which enables us to teach English as a foreign language. First, we will discuss about how teachers' own experience of learning the language, the beliefs, the attitudes you have affect your students' learning. Then we will see how our mother tongue is important to learn English. Finally, we will discuss about the strategies which enables us to teach English as a foreign language. Now, let me come to the first one. What do you know about English and teaching English in Ethiopia? Have you ever tried to ask this question to yourself? Why do you teach English to your students? Good. You have different answers to these questions. But before we proceed to answer these questions, let's try to evaluate ourselves. How many languages do you speak? Do you speak one, two, or you are able to speak more than that? Yeah, in a multilingual country like Ethiopia, many people can speak many languages, which in turn has a very important aspect on education. A person who speaks more than two languages has also better social advantages. They can share ideas, culture, and experience with somebody around them. This in turn enables them to understand people well. It also opens the door for others to understand them well. In addition, people who speak more than two languages are expected to have improved memory, problem solving, and critical thinking skills, enhanced concentration, ability to multitask, and better listening skills. Thus, you teachers are recommended to learn as many languages as you can. Having said this one, let me try to come back to our focus of attention. That's English. The language you learned so far and you are teaching now. Why is English taught as a language in Ethiopia? What are the advantages of learning English. Well then, you can have many different answers to this question. But one point that we may all agree with is that we see the value of learning this language in travel, education, and business. To benefit from this global knowledge and to share our own local wisdoms, English can be served as a bridge. The educational value of this language should be also taken into consideration because it is a very dominant one. Thus, we learn English at school. And understanding the value of this language, what it has in Ethiopia and throughout the world, it influences our attitude towards learning English. Now, listen to me carefully. Cognac hinahu laipasa. Cognac hinahu laipasa. What does it mean? What do you understand from this? What support do you need from the teacher to help you understand this one? If you are a student learning this language and hear this sentence for the first time, what do you understand? What support do you need from the teacher to help you understand this text? You know that if the language is not being spoken around you, the teacher is the only source of information you have. So teachers are expected to support students in learning a new language. Now, let me give you another version of the same text in two different languages. This one and the next. Which version do you find a bit easier to understand? And what do you do to record this phrase? What support do you need from the teacher to help you understand this one? Well then, I think you all have said that the second sentence is a bit easier to understand because, let alone all these things, you can at least understand or identify the letters given from here. So this enables you to decode or find out the meaning of the text. So teachers need to support their students in learning a new language because their support is very important and vital. But the question is, how? Here and there are some strategies which enables us to teach English as a foreign language. Strategies to support students learn a foreign language include creating a secure learning environment. What does it mean? We'll discuss about it later. Second, allowing learners to use their mother tongue. This is another strategy. The third one, code switching. The fourth, building teaching on students' background knowledge and relating it to the learner lives. Let me try to see these pointers one by one. The first one is creating a secure learning environment. As everybody knows, learning a new language is very frightening, especially for younger children just coming to school. So we need to make sure that we are celebrating every success of our students. So we should also work on developing our students' emotion, social, and behavioral skills, as well as their language and learning skills. The next one is allowing learners to use their mother tongue. The language we already knew is one of the best tools we have to learn a new language. So, students should be encouraged to use their background knowledge and learn skills from their mother tongue to learn a new language. For instance, learners can use their rich vocabulary knowledge and understanding in their mother tongue to learn English words. So, lessons should be designed in the way it could help them transfer what they know in their mother tongue to English. Let me come to the third one. Do you know what it means? Code switching occurs when students are trying to mix up two languages together. So we need to let our students to mix English and their mother tongue. That may help them to learn the language faster. This allows the teachers to understand where the gap of the student and help them to teach how it could be said in that language. And for students, it enables them to learn the language freely, meaning without being worried about anything else. Building teaching on students' background, knowledge, and relating it to learners' lives. As everybody knows, students are not empty jars waiting for their teacher to be filled. They always have something that they have learned from their surrounding and the topic being presented there. So, teachers are expected to make a linkage between what students have learned from their surrounding to what is being presented in English. Welcome back to this session. In this session, we will look at the structure of the current English materials. The current English materials are prepared based on the revised syllabus and scope and sequence of English curriculum materials. The current English materials have been made to have different pictures and colors so as to hold the attention of our students. Each materials at each grade level has different colors. For example, here is a text and teacher guide of grade 5 students, which is green in color. The next one is grade 6. As is observed here, it has a yellow color. And grade 7 textbooks and teacher's guide are prepared in red color. The last one is grade 8, which has a blue color. Look through the materials for a while and try to familiarize with the overall structure of the materials. Well done. I'm quite sure that you have gone through the materials and find out some important points in that regard. Now, Let's discuss together content and organization of the material. The materials have been organized in a thematic unit. Each grade level materials has 2 textbooks and 2 teacher guides. The first pair is for the first semester and the second pair is for the second semester. And each contents in the material are prepared in a thematic way. Each units are further divided into contents of 6 pairs per week. Let me try to say something about content organization. Each units are organized into 8 sections: word study, reading comprehension, vocabulary, listening comprehension, speaking skill, grammar, reading fluency, and writing. The listening and speaking skills are further divided into 3 subsections: the pre, the while, and the post. Hereunder, there is a program which shows us how these contents are presented. The first period deals with word study and reading comprehension. On the second day, vocabulary and listening skill is our focus. On the third day, speaking skill and grammar. On the fourth day, reading fluency and vocabulary are taught. Finally, writing section is presented on the fifth day. Now let's try to look.
Now let's go to this activity.
Now let's go to this activity. 1. Is there any alignment between the teacher's guide and the student's book? 2. Do the guides provide adequate direction and encourage teachers to use them? Good. I think you all have said that the 2 materials are well aligned. And as a language teacher, you are supposed to have these materials in your daily lessons. Besides, the teacher should hold the textbook, the teacher's guide, along with their lesson plan and other intended materials or resources. Now let me try to proceed to the methodology of the materials. The language learning pedagogy suggested in this material is student-centered cooperative learning. And the material encourages the I do, we do, and you do activities, which is known as the gradual release of responsibilities instructional model. But this doesn't mean that this approach is applicable for teaching all kinds of skills. For example, it's not applicable in teaching listening skill. The approach helps students to learn faster, and it ensures that active participation took place in our language class. Now let me try to say something about each phases of this module: the I do, we do, and you do phases. At the beginning of the class, or when certain material is being introduced, the teacher has a predominant role in delivering the contents. At the beginning of a class, or when the new material is being introduced, the teacher has a predominant role in the delivery of the contents. He is expected to model the strategy, while the students focus and understanding the strategy. This is the I do phase. But as a student begins to acquire knowledge and understanding of the concept, the responsibility of learning directly shifts from the teacher to the students. This is widow phase. At this phase, students are expected to make practice with their partner or along with the teacher within a small group. But when students began to move to the third phase, what we call it you-do stage, they are totally rely on themselves. While you are teaching children who don't have that much exposure to the language, they are learning. Teaching language concepts and vocabulary using actions is very important. This method is called total physical response, TPR. As different researchers pointed out, we only remember about 20% of the information that we hear. And we remember approximately 40% of the information that we see and hear. But we remember around 80% of the information that we see, hear and interact with in a meaningful way. So these researchers recommended us to use TPR or total physical response while we are teaching students who lacks exposure to the language. And hereunder, there are assessment techniques. Different assessment techniques have been already given here. And it's up to the teacher to use them in the ways they can manage. The first one is observation, exit card, raise words, turn and talk, informal monitoring, graphic organizers, presentations, summarize and reflections, formal continuous assessment, and enrichment. But while we are using these techniques, you should also consider that we are giving these techniques while we are in COVID now. So the issue of COVID should be taken into consideration here. Now let me try to summarize the topics what we have learned so far. I think we have learned these things during our presentation. One, your experience in learning English and attitudes and beliefs about learning in general affect your students' learning experience. Understanding of the contents and the structure of the teacher's guide and student's book helps us to teach the language better. The total physical response approach, use of visuals and mother tongue, can help students learn English. And finally, the gradual release of responsibility instructional model of I do, we do, you do approach is what is encouraged in teaching English as a foreign language. This is all what we have for today. In your next video, you will have a lesson on oral skills, speaking skill and listening skill. Please get yourself ready beforehand. Thank you for your attention.